Hello, class. I am Jakaya Lawson, and I will be doing my presentation on the paper ID 66. It is going to be for vulnerability analysis and consequences of false data injection attack on power system state estimation. The topics of this presentation I will be going over from the paper are background, problem solved, methodology, and stimulation. Each topic is going to reflect the paper's introduction, issues that are solved, and also how we're going to move forward with the results coming from those issues into the affecting of cyber attacks on power systems. The introduction to this paper is there is a high interest in the understanding of the vulnerability of the electric power system to cyber attacks. Unfortunately, right now, with the high interest of understanding this attack, there's not much information given on how to fully, completely find a solution on these type of cyber attacks to electric power systems. Cyber attack is the attempt to breach, steal, or destroy an individual or organization's information. Evaluating the possibility of a cyber attack before it occurs is a critical supplement to ensuring the secure operation of the power system. Although monitoring electric power systems are becoming more controllable, the integration can make them vulnerable to cyber attacks. The more and more we try to look for signs of cyber attacks and solutions and just monitoring these systems, it creates a more vulnerable outflow for an attacker. The key terms that I will be discussing in this presentation from the paper are false data injection, optimization, and vulnerability analysis, and also state estimation. Key terms part 1. False data injection, also known as FDI, is the illegal hacking of the power systems using the new cyber attack method, which poses as a threat to the safety and stable operations of a smart grid. Also, optimization. Optimization contracts on the number of attacked and observed meters called shifts in the control center bond in a control center load. Key terms part 2. Vulnerability analysis. The evolution of a cinematic review of security weaknesses in an information system is the vulnerability analysis. This is used often when trying to create solutions of cyber attacks on the power system. Also, the last key term in this paper is state estimation. State estimation is when all the measurements are delivered to one control center. Estimation is very important to this type of attack because it's used heavily in creating the problem solving solutions for a cyber attack on the power system. The next topic we're going to discuss is background. The background of this paper includes that the electrical power system is still not understood for the aspect of physical consequences. The physical consequences that can happen from a catastrophic um, power system attack is that it can affect everyone economically. Electric power system attacks are intended to cause physical line overloads. When a cyber attack overloads a physical line, it can make the entire system extremely vulnerable and cause blackouts. Even the overflowing of a single line can cause economic damage. We have seen this before happen in history. Um, the one example that is used in the paper that this has happened is from the 2003 power system cyber attack. It is important to detect potential attacks in order to secure and protect the power system. Background part 2 of this presentation. Due to the false measurements that can be taken in finding a cyber attack on a power system, a generation redetachment was initiated because of the physical consequence of an FDI attack, which can cause the overload of the power line. It's very important when monitoring a FDI attack that we're able to create accurate measurements in order to create a resolved solution for the attack and to stop the attacker before the attack becomes even more catastrophic and overloads into a damaging of an economic source. An attacker could change the state of a system without being detected by a faulty algorithm. Cyber attacks that cause line overflow are more damaging when attackers' goal is to cause a physical consequence. In the diagram I have provided shows a smart grid. The smart grid is the electrical network that uses advanced technologies to monitor or manage the transformation of an electrical form of all generational sources or meet electrical demands. In the diagram, it shows a great example of how the attacker can not only just affect the aspects of the power system, but how that can overflow into something more economic or create a blackout, which creates more damage done than just a cyber attack. It creates the physical consequences. On the diagram, it performs a great idea of the attacker that I am circling. Okay. Also, the actual attacks that are happening in the overflow, which are the bugs shown below that I am circling, along with the power consumers, along with the distribution, the transmissions, and also the generation. Power system attacks are very important The power system attacks not only just the consumers, not only just the way that we receive the information through the internet, but also the main generations that causes all of these important operations to receive the information that we do so often in everyday life. The next topic I will be discussing on the information given from the paper is that the problem solved. According to the paper, using a bi-level optimization problem, an attacker's subgraph is utilized to determine the optimal attack. Additionally, a least squares problems with the bad data indicator is used to obtain accurate estimations of the state variables. By the using by using the subproblem, the attacker's influence over the system can be formulated as an optimization problem. This is determined by modeling the bi-level optimization with the objective to power flow branch. Problem solved part 2 of my presentation. A linear optimization problem can be used to determine the worst case scenario for line overloads. The attack scale and constraints can lead to a shift in the control center, potentially affecting the attacker's ability to overload a branch. Additionally, implementing the optimization problem on a larger systems is necessary to prevent further damage and outrages. As someone who is monitoring the attack, it's very important to keep the outrage and the damage that's being caused very at a minimum. But because this is still a study that is ongoing on how to potentially um, be able to catch these attacks with the information that they're given, it is still something that we have to work on adjusting. The next topic I will be discussing in my presentation on the paper is the methodology. One of the attacks that was listed is the AC attack. And in the AC attack, the attacker does not have access to all the state values. This gives us, as someone who is wanting to um, avoid the attacker and to stop the cyber attack that's happening on the power system, a little bit of an advantage because the attacker does not have all the valuable state values in order to complete the attack without the necessary information. The first step, the attacker chooses a non-zero entries to center buses for the attack subgraph. Step 2, assume the system buses, generators, and branches are active. These are just some of the steps that our attacker takes without having the state values in order to complete the attack. Another step, step 3, is the attacker takes measurements that are available to perform a local AC state estimation. Because the attacker does not have all the necessary information, they do take certain steps in order to receive enough information to continue an effective attack. Methodology Part 2. The attacker's strategy is to focus on fewer buses that have heavy loads. This causes a change in the states of the buses. In the FDI attack, there may be limitations on the magnitude of the load that can be influenced. This can cause an effect to the size of the attack subgraph. Also, within constraint models that limit resources available to the attacker. In the diagram above, I've also shown a SCADA system. In the SCADA system diagram, it reflects on the accident analysis, optimal scheduling, bad data monitor, state estimate, the controller, industrial process, and the sensor. Also, how the attacker, circled in the red, utilizes this information in order to complete their attack. A SCADA system. The SCADA system is used to enable the industrial process of capturing data in real life time with the combination of software and hardware. The SCADA measurements are mimicked by the legitimate system if the vector attack is chosen. The control system measurements provided by SCADA control the dispatch of the decisions made by the attacker. Another topic that I will be discussing regarding to the paper is stimulation results. The stimulation results are obtained by running the optimization problem that helps to identify the optimal attack vector. These results conducted in the paper states that this attack vector stimulates the AC attack and generates a nonlinear system model that indicates AC state estimation. This model is then used to solve the AC power flow and the ACOPF using the CPLEX optimization software. Some of the takeaways I took from this paper is that being able to detect the FDI attacks are still being studied. Even with control, monitoring, electrical power, communication, those aspects does not stop a power system from being vulnerable. And with this being still something that is studied as a cyber attack, it is still evolving on how to completely catch and detect attackers on power systems and get a more advantage and control over these attacks. This has been my presentation on my paper for ID 66. Please leave feedback on the presentation. Also list if you learned something about vulnerability analysis and the consequences of false data injection. Lastly, do you want to learn more about this topic after hearing my presentation? Thank you, class.